Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I've got what I think is going to be a fantastic casual deck. Now, I know that you guys all cheated, and you guys already read the title, so I call this Hero Cannon, because again, that is our end game. Our end game is to set up a loop of infinite fusion, to create a loop of infinite overlays, and generate so many Gustav Max shots that it does not matter what number of hit points the opponent has. If they can't stop the loop, they lose. It doesn't matter how many hit points. They could have a billion, they could have a trillion, they could have a Googleplex, which is like 12 zeros after your number. Doesn't matter. So let's just go ahead, get you guys the deck list, then I'll explain the card choices after that, and then tomorrow I'm going to throw up the combo video and probably do like a couple of test hands, maybe just one, I don't know yet. We'll figure that out tomorrow. So for today, let's get you guys the list. First thing you're going to need is 12 monsters. You're going to need 3 copies of each: Avion, Bubbleman, Burstinatrix, including the nice foil, and 3 copies Clayman. Again, we're going to spam Electrum the most, and so this is actually very important to us. So there's your 12 monsters. I didn't count the spells. I can count the traps real quick and then just do some quick subtraction. So I got 3, 6, 7, so there's 10, so 12, 10, 22, there'll be 18 spell cards in the deck. I am using 3 emergency calls. These are just sort of my way of doing some filler deck thin. If you guys have a better choice, you guys can always put that in there. 3 fusion gates. This is mandatory. It's the only way you can infinitely fuse within a turn. And then, of course, everything else is basically like, how do we get to our targets? So I got 3 copies Hand Destruction. I got 3 copies Magical Mallet. I got a single copy of One Day of Peace, and this one's questionable. You guys could always throw in Card Destruction if you like, but I was trying not to do as much about giving our opponents the cards that they need. And something else that you guys could do instead of emergency calls would be like Dark World Dealings. These would be other options that you could throw into the deck. 3 copies Pot of Duality. This is like turn 1 only. If you draw into this on turn 2, you don't want to use this. Single copy Terraforming, single copy Upstart. Again, I don't mind giving them 1,000 life points because I'm going to be tearing it out of I'm going to tear it right out of their account. We're going to zero their account real quick. To the traps, the mandatory card is Chain Material. This is what's going to set it off with the Fusion Gate. So as long as you end up with those 2 cards and can survive 1 turn, again, this is super casual. You're not taking this to, well, you might take it to locals, but you're not taking this to regionals. This isn't going to be something that's going to work out well for you. Again, casual duelist. So I just wanted to show you guys a really cool strategy that can happen. 1 copy Metaverse, because not only is this going to act as another terraforming, we can actually play it directly from our deck. 3 copies Reckless Greed, and 3 copies Trap Trick. And believe it or not, this is something that, since they went ahead and gave this to us in one of the structure decks, has just been invaluable as far as this deck goes. So that's going to round that out. That's your 40-card main deck. Now let's go over to your extra deck. And again, there are some play positions. The last 3 I'm using are links. I'm using simply the Nightmare package. I got the Cerberus, I got the Phoenix, and the Unicorn. They're there for the obvious reasons. And again, not all these heroes are necessary. You guys can skate without using Absolute Zero, but I'm going to use 2 copies myself. There is a board break that you can perform with this. 3 copies Electrum. This is mandatory at 3. If you guys don't have 3 of this, don't even try the deck because you need the 3rd one. The 3rd one is what sets everything off. You're going to have 2 copies Elemental Hero Gaia. That's going to be one of your outs, and Shining is your other out. These guys are also mandatory. You guys need these at 2. And Gustav Cannon Max. Again, I just maximized it because, again, I didn't really need my extra deck. Again, if I wanted to do this somewhat better, I would trade the 3rd one out, and I would make this IP Masquerena. And this might allow me to, well, it won't. You need to be able to survive the 1 turn. And of course, if you could have linked, you should have just fused instead. So that is that. And that is the deck, and of course, the extra deck. And seriously, guys, if you want to see how I use this, stop by tomorrow. I'll throw out the combo. I'll show you guys how it works. And then I'll do a couple test hands, 1 or 2 test hands. And we'll do that tomorrow. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by to watch this today. And if you haven't and this did amuse you and you would like to help support us here, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Let your friends know about the channel. It's a great way for us to grow as a community. And one very important thing, I want you guys to go have a good day, great day, and just do something fun. So whether that's watch more Yu-Gi-Oh videos or cat videos, or I don't know. I don't know what you do for fun, but go do that and have a good one. I'll see you guys next time. Everybody else, let's talk over the decisions real quick. So I'm going to do this backwards. We're going to go with the extra deck first, which I know is weird. So our first choice here was Absolute Zero. It's any hero plus water attribute. And again, we can do this with Bubble Man. So that's why this is in here. Has to be fusion summon, can't be special summoned other ways. Gains 500 attack for every face-up water monster on the field except self or cards with same name. When leaves field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And again, if your opponent's got kind of a weird negaty board and they don't stop the chain material or the fusion gate, or you have 2 fusion gates or something like that, this could be a way to break up the opponent's field just to stop things from negating stuff like Boral, Savage, and stuff like that. Honestly, you guys could switch this out for anything you want, but it's pretty cool. Electrum, important for 2 reasons. Number 1, he is the 10-star card that you're going to be overlaying into Gustav Max. And secondly, he needs all 4 of the heroes that we mained in our deck. The effect here is must be fusion summoned, cannot be special summoned by other ways. While face up on the field, it is every attribute except dark. And when this card is fusion summoned, this is the important part of the effect. Shuffle all banished cards back into the decks. It also gains 300 attack for every monster the opponent controls that shares an attribute with it. That's negligible. We need the cards to go back. This is how we're going to infinitely fuse, and this is, again, one of the key points to this strategy. And again, when we do the combos and I show you guys the test hands and stuff, you will understand why you need 3. It's not negotiable. Gaia is hero, elemental hero plus earth. And again, his effects really don't matter because he would just like have a monster and then gain half that, or gain the portion that was taken from the monster. It's negligible. We need him for his attribute, which is why he's in here. Same thing with Shining. We need the light attribute plus elemental hero. So these 2 are going to help us do the majority of our recycling. You do have the Gustav Cannon Max. It is 2 level 10s to create this rank 10. Once per turn, and again, since this doesn't have a quotes on it, this is a soft once per turn. This is once per turn per copy, which is what allows us to go infinite burn. You can detach 1 Xyz material from this, inflict 2k to the opponent, and this is what we're going to do. We're just going to take pot shots at the opponent. Again, it doesn't matter. You can pick any number you want. You are going to drain that account to 0 before the end of your turn, as long as you don't have to play through interrupts. But again, as long as you can set up the chain material and the fusion gate, you're home free anyway. If those 2 things resolve, it doesn't matter what happens after that. And then again, my links. I just threw these guys in here because I had the 3 spots, and I didn't really want to dedicate this to having like the pot of fodder extra deck because you really don't have the room to do it. You'd be able to activate like 1 card once. And again, you probably want to play Prosperity, and I wasn't trying to make it to where this deck was going to have a $90 card in it. So I was thinking about budgets. Again, some of these cards may have been a while since they were reprinted, so I'm not sure that every card here is super easy to get a hold of. It just so happens that for a ton of these, I was just able to find them real cheap myself. So that's all that is. Going into the main deck, again, all the heroes, the 3 of them are just stats. And again, we're generally just going to throw a hero face down and end our turn. Generally, we want that to be Clayman because he's got that 2k defense. Avion's in here because we need him. Bubble Man can do something for you. If this is the only card in your hand, you could special summon it. When this is special summon, you could draw 2 cards if there are no other cards on your side of the field and in your hand. It's very desperate. And again, we don't tend to use him for his effect. We're only really using him for his name. And again, with Absolute Zero being in the side, or sorry, the extra, we need them for that attribute. So again, these guys are just names to us. Burst into tricks, you just need it. And like I said with Clayman, 2k defense. This might be your best bet at trying to last that one turn without trying to put other cards into the deck. It is what it is. And again, we can access him very easily through the emergency call. And again, when we do anything that's going to require us to draw, as long as we can activate these real quick, we're moving the cards from our deck, and we're going to thin the deck, which makes our draws more effective, trying to find the things that we actually need. Again, if you don't have these or you don't want to run this, Dark World Dealing would be good for you. This is just what I use. Fusion Gate. While this card is on the field, either player can fusion summon fusion monsters without using polymerization, but the fusion materials are banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. 100% okay. This is, again, with Electrum, those materials immediately go back into your deck anyway, so it's almost like you weren't using them to begin with. So, again, negligible, but you need this card. So, Hand Destruction, each player sends 2 from the hand to the graveyard, then draws 2. Again, if your opponent doesn't have 2 or you don't have 2, then this card is going to be a dead card. So again, you might choose to play something else here. So maybe you did want to play the emergency calls. This could be a place for you to put those Dark World Dealings. You got the Magical Mallets. These are like reload, only better because you get to choose which cards are going back into your deck. So add any number of cards from your hand back to the deck, shuffle, then draw, whatever you put in there. So if you send 2, it's send 2, shuffle, draw 2. Very good. 1 Day of Peace would be better at 3 because we would be able to consistently find this and then survive the one turn. Each player draws a card. Neither player takes damage until the end of the opponent's next turn. And this does include the effect damage, not just battle damage. So while monsters would still get destroyed, it doesn't have the same defensive capability as a trap card like Wolbaku or something. But what we do find is if we do start the turn with this is free. We might as well play it and not let our opponents wreck us on one round. But again, this is a very casual deck. It's just here for the draw. The Pots of Duality are here for the Excavate 3. Add 1 to hand, shuffle rest back to deck, only activate 1 of these per turn. The reason we want to do this on the first turn is you cannot special summon monsters during the turn you activate this, and you want to do as many fusion and overlays as possible. So dead on turn 2, you want it on turn 1. To increase our chances of getting our field spell, this is like adding Terraforming and Metaverse is like adding another 2 cards to your deck. That'll do that, plus they thin for when you need to go into drawing effects. So you just run it. Again, if we had more than one of these, we'd be running more than one of these. It'd be fine. An Upstart Goblin. Give the opponent 1,000 life points. We draw 1 card. It's a perfect exchange. They're not keeping those points for very long. The traps, very simple here. Chain Material, again, kind of the linchpin of this deck. So anytime you fusion summon a monster this turn, you can remove from play from your side of the field, deck, hand, or the graveyard fusion materials listed on the fusion monster card. Use them as materials, and you cannot attack during the turn this card is activated. That's fine. We're going to use burn damage. If you use this effect to fusion summon monster or monsters, they are destroyed during the end phase. So the brilliant part about this is we're never going to make it to the end phase. Once we activate this would cause us to banish those cards, which Fusion Gate's already doing, so that's fine. And again, Electrum is going to throw everything back in our deck, so we're totally fine. Metaverse, when you activate this, you either add 1 field spell from deck to hand or activate it from your hand. Sorry, no, activate it from deck or add it to your hand, so very potent. Again, limited to 1, and if Terraforming was at 2, we would probably just take this out and turn it into that, because it just plays quicker. 3 Reckless Greeds. This is really for like turn 2. This is just to try to get us into the cards that we need. Draw 2 cards, skip your next 2 draw phases. Risk versus reward. Try to remember your ratios and percentages as much as possible. Remembering that every card in the game, in a 40-card deck, is worth 2.5% of your deck. So if that helps, running that's cool. And Trap Trick does thinning and is amazing. So banish 1 normal trap from your deck, except Trap Trick, and set 1 card with the same name directly from the deck. that can be activated this turn. So if we set this, we wait for our opponent to activate whatever, Twin Twisters, as long as it isn't Feather Duster. This way they do their targeting. We can flip it, resolve it, and get the other target to where they can't play against it. So again, Feather Duster beats the Trap Trick based on timing and resolution. But if they are using something like Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twisters, you can still play through and get the Trap Trick to go ahead and set your chain material by pitching a chain material. And again, if you wait till your own turn to activate it, you could still activate that. It's not going to affect you. Again, you can only activate one of these per turn, which is fine. But this is like having 6 copies of chain material in your deck. So this actually makes this way more consistent than it ever was. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this, and this has actually been one of my quicker profiles. So, yay me. Again, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by and watching this. I hope that you guys stop by tomorrow and check out the combo and the play, like the test hands. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. See you next video. Have a great day, my friends.